And we're live. How we doing? John's got his party popper ready to go. Look at him. Like he's a happy chappy. Thank you all for joining us. All at 110 off the bat. Thank you very much. It is our 1 year anniversary today. Hurrah. We'll be going for a year. Sad that it's in. I know. Sad that it's in such shitty circumstances after a game like that. But yeah. A year.
Feels like a lot longer, doesn't it?
It does feel like a lot longer. It does. How are you?
Me and you have fallen out more in the last year, Nick, than we have in the previous 35.
I know. I reckon it's going to happen again tonight as well. Before the night's out. Right now, we've got a very eager Father Jack who's joining, because we are going to be rolling guests on as well. We've got some special guests coming on at 9:30, and we've got an extra special guest who's going to join us in a minute. What we'll do is we'll bring Mike in after we've done the intro, and then Mike can stay with us for the first half hour, and then we'll bring the other two in, and we'll roll them off.
Is he sober?
He's not sober. No, he's incredibly drunk. So I apologise in advance, everyone. But right, what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be talking about, very briefly, we're not going to be going through it in granular detail, but the Everton game. Not going to bother with player reviews because we're going to get onto the big subject at hand a little bit later. We're going to talk about the new players as well, what we think of them briefly. I know it's a little bit hard to cast judgment now, but just quickly talk about them. And there's a few big talking points there. Flynn Downs, I know he's a new player, but that's a subject in itself, especially after Thursday night. And then we're going to go on to the big Moyes debate. And then obviously we'll be involving you all in the chat. And that's when it should probably get a little bit entertaining, I would expect, at that point.
They're already involving themselves in the chat regarding Moyes. Don't worry about that. There's already their own show going on in the chat, mate.
do you want to say hello to them anyway, John? Well, before yeah, go on.
We only have 8 viewers. I can't handle it now. Dodsy, evening fellas. Evening, Dodsy. People were talking in the chat half hour before we started. I reckon Nick may have imploded. Yeah, he did a video earlier, but I didn't watch it. Nick, did you implode?
I did. I tried to keep it calm, but I naturally, my blood pressure, I wind myself up. I find myself arguing with myself on screen. Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah. I get the ump.
Yeah, you are a bit like that. Moyes only has his job because of Euro run last season. Yeah. Probably. We're going to go into all that stuff. Hoping for a feisty show. Sure, we will. He's not the Messiah. He's a very nasty boy. Feisty show, but respectful.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because, look, me and Nick are polar opposite, but we respect each other.
We do, sometimes. I think what it comes down to, what I will say, I know there is a big divide at the minute. There is, and I said this earlier on. And there is no right and wrong. There is no I told you so, even though I did tell you so, John. There's no I told you so.
Nothing's happened yet. No told me so yet, mate.
What I'm saying is, even though there is none of that, it doesn't make you right or wrong. All it is some people have got more faith and more patience than others. That's all it boils down to.
Yeah, we'll go into that, as I say, and we can have it out on air again.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your first year. Thank you, Ahmet. Is that Ahmet who?
He's on our group. Yeah, he's on our group. Yeah.
Me and him have some debates, but I'll still welcome him in. I'll just trip him over when he's not looking. Black Country Hammer, well done on your first year.
Thank you very much.
I can't believe it. Nigel says, happy anniversary, boys. Smashing first year, been great fun.
Thank you very much, Nige.
There's a lot of happy anniversaries.
No,
we'll just quickly put Eastside up. Well, for the clans what's at me. Eastside, mate. Again, I always put your comments up because even though I don't always agree, I put them up. But yeah, you know, well done.
A-side, no, I told you so tonight. All right, just private.
I did my carefully crafted video the other day, right? Trying to tread the line between Moyes in and Moyes out, and then first comment was Eastside #Moyes out.
I think he's just got it on speed dial. He just copies and pastes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people wishing us happy first year. A lot of people wishing David Moyes to go. So, it's already getting very feisty. As I said, look, there's going to be loads of comments. I'll try and get through as many as I can, but I won't be able to put them all up, so I do apologise. But, there's loads already, mate. Okay.
So, that is absolutely fine. No worries. Do we think that we're going to need a moderator tonight?
Well, Listen, we're all adults. We're all adults. We've got to moderate ourselves.
Behave yourselves in the chat, all right? Behave yourselves in the chat.
Don't get personal with each other. Don't get personal with each other.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Good stuff. On to the game. I'll tell you what. Before we do, let's bring Jack in. His name's Mike. I think he's adopted the name Father Jack himself now, isn't you?
Yeah,
right, Mike.
He loves it.
Evening.
How we doing, Mike? How you feeling?
Well, I've been to Chessington today, so.
It's been Chessington.
Chessington, yeah. Daughter's 10th birthday. As you can probably see behind me, like there's a few balloons.
Yeah.
There's one there. The 10's just deflated. A bit like our season.
Oh no.
There you go.
Oh no. All right. Okay. Well, what we're going to do, we'll move on with the Everton game first of all. So we've got starting lineups. Gary, what were your thoughts? I mean, so I wasn't overly surprised that he reverted back to type because I thought he'd go with what he knew. You know, that's kind of what I thought he'd do. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Look, I wasn't surprised with it at all. I expected it. I mean, I made a video the other day talking about Downs and how he didn't even get a look in the other night. So surely that means he's going to get a look in the Premier League game. Did I believe it? Nah, not really. When you just hope, and I hope every time we play a game in the Premier League at the moment, I hope to see something a little bit different. And what he seems to have done is reverted to type more and more in every game. What he's started to do now is just add Paqueta in the middle instead of Lanzini to be the kind of pixie dust merchant, someone who can do who he hopes can do a pie and create something out of nothing, because that is literally our only form of attack is that or a set piece. I mean, that is it. That is what we're down to. And so I wasn't surprised by the lineup. I was really disappointed with the lineup because there are certain players in that team who seem to be undroppable. And there's a list of them, right? Fabianski, even though he don't get much blame. Fornals, who's playing as a defensive left winger when it's supposed to be an attack.
As soon as you see Fornals left wing, you know what's going on.
Exactly. Souček, who plays as an attacking midfielder, leaving Rice behind by himself. Bowen, who God knows what he's doing out on the right, but he ain't doing very much. Antonio does his best always, but he's undroppable. Cresswell, well, he's there for the set pieces, for nothing else, clearly.
Yeah.
And Soufal, I don't know why he starts, because he ain't a very good player, in my opinion. So that's Fabianski, Fornals, Souček, Bowen, Antonio, Cresswell, Soufal. They're going to start every single game.
But now he's blaming his go-tos, isn't he?
Yeah, and so that is my feedback on the team. I thought, oh, here we go again.
But he's blaming his go-tos now.
Yeah.
So that's the beginning of the end. He's blaming his go-tos as the players are letting him down. That's it.
Well, that's generally that is kind of in Moyes' playbook, though, isn't it? I mean, one of the main things that frustrates me in these games is in a game like today where it weren't working. I suppose maybe it was working in Moyes' head before they scored, because that was probably the plan. But when it comes to making changes, there's never a tactical shift. It's just take one piece off, put another piece on, and it's like, what do you really expect to change from that? I mean, what about you, John? What were your thoughts on it? Is it what you expected?
I'll get stick for it. I got a lot of stick the other day. I can take it. I'm a big enough lad, but I'm forever the optimist, right? And it's not because I'm some sort of Moyes worship or anything like that. My mindset is always get behind the team. Let's hope something changes. Let's hope he changes and things like that. You know as well as I, you know that I've been saying, as long as you have 4-4-2, let's try something different. Yeah. Like, I'm looking for something different, like the 4-4-2 diamond, something like that, where there's a bit of adventure. There's a bit of, because it did work for a while, the counter-attacking thing, right? It did work for some time, but it's just frustrating me now because he's not willing to change it. Again, Antonio gets pulled off, Skamaki gets put on. What is the point? We're losing 1-0. Let's chase the game. And people think I'm half glass full kind of guy. I probably am, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's because I'm forever the optimist. You have to be optimistic to be a West Ham fan, though. Because we haven't had much to sing about in our lifetimes, us four here, pretty much. So that's just the way I am. But I'm becoming highly unmotivated, highly, frustrated as well. Of course I am. Right? Yeah. We're all different aspects of it and different. But I just want him to say, there's nothing to lose. Like there's nothing to lose in taking a game to someone.
I know.
The thing is you would sort of you'd respect him more for losing, giving it a go.
100%.
Did you hear what he said today?
This is about
somebody raised
the 4-4-2 thing, wasn't it?
Raised it with him after the game. One of the interviewers raised it with him because Rashane Thomas, even on the Athletic on Twitter, was saying you've got to play Skamaka and Antonio up front, not just one or the other. And the TV interviewer said to him, a lot of fans are calling for 2 up front. And he said, well, you know, he more or less poo-pooed it. He said, look, fans are going to ask for that when times are getting desperate. And he said, the problem with playing 2 up front is you need to play 3 at the back.
Well, that's what
he's never had a 4-4-2 then, no?
That's what he said. No, he said that they words out of his mouth. If you play 2 up front, you got to play 3 at the back.
You know why that is, don't you? Because if he plays 4, that means he's got to take one of his central midfielders away, and you know which central midfielder that is.
Yeah,
that he has to take away. Yeah, and he won't do it.
Yeah,
he won't do it. So it's frustrating.
I think on Thursday or last week, I think it was Kent Irons or Kent Hammers when we was talking in the chat. And we sort of said about the 4-4-2 diamond thing. I think that's a great idea. I genuinely do.
It is. Well, look, we know.
You have to have Rice sitting, and
and Rice.
You're going to lose there. Like they're trying to make Rice the next Gerrard.
I don't know. I don't actually know what they're trying. I mean, what I hate, Mike, and I always have done. Maybe in special games, special occasions where you're playing against Chelsea, Man City. There is never any reason to play with 2 central defensive holding midfielders shielding. There's actually not, you know, because then what you've got is you've got a massive disconnect then between midfielder or basically a second line of defence and the attack. There's a big fucking void there, and more often than not as well, when we play the way that we play today, your outlet is next to nothing because Bowen has been poor as well. But do you know why I think that might be? I am trying to think about it. And I think David Moyes' tactics have regressed slightly. Now, when you see today, when he plays Fornals as basically a second left back, which is what he does, I think it's the same for Bowen. I think Bowen's under instruction now to get back and cover Soufal. I think that does affect their attacking output. Then you've got isolated players. You've got Paqueta who's picking up, struggling to acclimatise to the pace of the Premier League, clearly, even though he was just as slow playing against that team we played the other day. But if you're a creative player, you need options in front of you. If you don't have options, he's obviously the type of player that don't just kick the ball forward. He wants to see a pass. Yeah. If he's looking and he ain't seeing a pass, what do you want him to do?
Yeah, he tries to hold the ball and he gets caught in possession. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah, but come on, but with all due respect, Paqueta, what his fucking name is, he did well defensively today. He actually did quite well defensively. He won a few headers. He was doing the defensive side of the job. But as much as you're saying he needs options, I agree to some extent, but I do think he needs to get to grips with the pace of the game. That will come in time, right? But I get what you're saying. But I'm just saying, I thought he did well defensively, but we haven't bought him for that reason, have we?
Hasn't he come from a Lyon team that was built on attack?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, they played a 4-3-3. He always had, like I say, he never had less than 3 options in front of him, Mike. He did. You know, he could go, right, left, or centre. Whereas at the moment, he's got.
Let's not straight away.
No, but what? I'm not at all. I'm not at all. But it will. But all I'm trying to say is the Premier League. I've been told I've called it Premiership, so I won't call it anymore.
Yeah.
But I know. But the Premier League, the Premier League is the fastest league in Europe, is it not?
It is 100%.
It's frenetic. Yeah. So it takes some of the best players in the world time. So I'm not poo-pooing him or writing him off. Of course I'm not, but it will take him time. But I also agree. Huh?
You broke Cornet off.
No.
I just said, no. What I'll say about Cornet, right? I won't go back on my words. What I'll say is, the times I've seen him play well is when he's been on the left. When Moyes switches him around, that's what I've noticed. Because when we played that other European game, one of the first things he did was get the ball down, take someone on, cross it for Skamaka to score. Yeah. But he was on the left. And today, when he came on, he was on the left predominantly, wasn't he? And I thought he did all right. I mean, he did miss a bit of a chance, but
he did. But what happens to a player psychologically when they're brought on with like 10 minutes to go? It's sort of shit or bust, isn't it? They've got a short amount of time to make something happen. I think you're all right in a way. I think Paqueta, he does dwell on the ball and he's getting caught in possession, but he must get the ball, look up front, and he sees Antonio surrounded by 2 defenders.
Into feet. That's all his option is into feet to Antonio.
Yeah. There's, you know, Bowen is not there. Fornells is not there. There's nobody to pass to, literally.
No. But yeah, it is getting. It's just getting incredibly tedious now. Even just sort of moaning about it and talking about the same old thing. And somebody made a good point today. I don't know if anybody saw my. Well, I don't think it was a rational rant. I think it was rational, and I'll stand by it. But somebody made a good comment in there as well. I can't remember who it was, and they said it's all very well sticking by your manager until, you know, maybe 10 games, 15 games. But what he said was, if you get rid of the manager now with the group of players that we've got, you could go out and attract a top manager because there's still plenty of the season to play. He said if you let the season basically expire to the point where you're only whoever comes in, they're coming into a relegation battle.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be attracting a different type of manager. So what do? Do you put your faith in Moyes to see if he can turn it around and risk getting in a fucking Dyche and a Sam Allardyce afterwards, or do we be proactive? Go, this just isn't working. He can't do it. He can't. It doesn't seem like he can do it. Cut ties and go out and try and get someone like a Pochettino, you know?
Yeah, well, I think this team has been bought for someone else.
I don't know.
I don't know. What I do personally.
Yeah. I think that we spent a lot of money. And it doesn't sit right with me. This isn't Moyes' way. This is not his MO. He doesn't go out.
Yeah,
I think it's true.
Saying the board said, "Oh, the board have backed me," and all that. It doesn't sit with me. I really don't think it is.
No,
it's true. It is an interesting conspiracy theory. It's an interesting conspiracy theory, but I think that's all it is. To be honest, I think they have backed him, and he's using his new what's his name? Newman. They've gone and they've identified players and brought players in. I'm just not sure that Moyes. I'm not sure that Moyes knows how to use those new players.
He can't. He can't coach talent.
He can't. Well, no. If you read the article, we've already spoken about this several times. I had the same opinion as you, Mike. I'm very cynical. You look back at Moyes in history, you know, whatever else, he doesn't do this. But when you read that article, it's very clear that there was a strategy within the club to change the way that we played, go out, find players that can pass the ball and change the way that we play. But I think we've done that. And I just don't think that we've got the manager that can deliver it, unfortunately. And I've always thought that. And talking about the new players, it's if we've got existing players in this current setup who are struggling like fuck, like players who have been good for ages and they're struggling, how can we really expect the new players to flourish in that system?
Yeah.
But you can't introduce, you know, new players into a team that's failing and expect them to rescue it, especially when you don't change your approach, right? If you're going to change your approach and introduce new players, then you give them some kind of chance. But no, you're kind of asking them to fit into a system that's already been figured out by other teams.
Our European team seems to be like gelling.
He's got no fear in Europe. He doesn't care as much about Europe. So in Europe, he'll change the team at half time. That's what he'll do. He'll be more shit or bust. But in the league, no, he sits on his hands. And what we have seen when he did start, I think he started against Villa, didn't he? When he put Skamaka up front, when he played a few of the new players, like we'd been calling for. And what he does do in a couple of these games is if his favourites ain't starting, he'll change it half time so he can get his favourites on. If his favourites are starting, then it goes back to 60, 70 minutes, introducing a few players.
Yes. I think the thing that's pissing me off really is I said this last season with Antonio, because Antonio just got so many pelters from fans, right? When he went on that barren run of not scoring.
Yeah.
And I said this at the time. Moyes, take Antonio out the firing line, because what you're doing is you're tarnishing his name at the club.
At the club.
Because when he retires...
Is he not doing that with Souček?
Hang on, let me finish. When he retires, Antonio, people will just go, yeah, he was crap. They forget
100%.
what he did. He carried us for 2 seasons, right? So what's happening now is, and I've said this about Moyes last season, so I'm not changing my tune. What's happening now is he's doing the same with someone like
Souček. He does it with Souček. He does it with Souček as well.
No. Forget Souček, because Cresswell's been a fantastic servant for us, right?
Yeah.
But he's leaving him in there. People are saying he ain't the player he was, and he isn't the player he was, and now he's getting pelters. Yeah. And that's not fair on players who have had a great history or been a great servant of the club. That really annoys me.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's the thing that really annoys me. That
is a
firing line and bring them in.
That's not looking after your players, is it?
No,
I don't know what it is.
And
People
calling
say
his
loyalty.
fucking interview.
Oh, fuck
Why's he
me.
zooming in?
You're zooming in.
Well, he's doing it with quite a
You
few of them,
nutty
though. He's doing it with quite a few of them, though, isn't he? You know, the ones I read out earlier. You know, Souček, Bowen. Bowen needs to be taken out the firing line now, right?
Yeah.
Before people start getting on his back, because he's had 10. Well, we've played 11 games, including Europe, right? He's been poor in most of them.
Yeah.
Cresswell has not been good. Soufal has been awful. Souček has been awful, right? These players, they need to be taken out. We do have alternatives for these players. We've got an alternative for Cresswell now.
Yeah.
We've got one for, you know, we've got one to replace Souček in Downs.
But look, to finish off the point about Everton, right? I think just fast forward, we went 1-0 down.
Yeah.
I think the minute he took off Antonio for Scamacca, that was a point where I could have just thrown my telly out the window. I just thought, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you not just going for it? I mean, I understand. I mean, you're 1-0 down, is what I'm saying. You're 1-0 down. Like John says, throw caution to the wind. What fucking difference does it make if you lose 1-0 or 3-0?
Makes no difference.
Points matter. You know,
no, we've said that before. Though we have said that before. We've been saying put Scamacca with Antonio. Whether Antonio's just off him a little bit, that will fucking
everyone
scare defenders.
It would.
Everyone's been saying it. Yeah,
Antonio off the left.
And also, don't forget, if you do that and you make a change, a tactical change, and you play with Antonio and Scamacca, and you get your goal in Antonio, you've got a player that can play other positions. So if you then want to change shape afterwards, so you're not playing two up front, you can do that with Antonio. He could do a different job. That's what I don't understand.
They've got two of them now.
Yeah. I don't understand. I don't know, but it was a poor game. It was abysmal. You know, I mean, in terms of putting out on Sky Sports, that was not. Imagine watching that as a neutral. Fucking hell.
I wonder if there's
for the Dragon's Fury.
Do you think there's a bit of a clique? Do you think there's a bit of a clique going on with the players who have served us well for the last couple of years and the new players?
Yeah. I don't think it's a happy camp.
What makes you say that?
Well, I just, you know, there were just a couple of little hints, like when Antonio's come off for Scamacca, you know, Antonio hasn't even looked at Scamacca. You know, that's happened a couple of times now. There's various other bits and pieces as well where, you know, Benny, would you envisage that Benny's very happy at the moment after being our best player for the first several games? Now he ain't getting a look in.
Oh, you know? Yeah, this was a point. This was a point I was going to make earlier on, Gary. I forgot about it. So what I was saying is, at the moment, I think we'd all agree that for the most part, apart from Antonio, I think he's having a good season in terms of form. He looks like he's playing quite well.
Always plays well. Always plays well.
But what we have is almost like a collection of players or a core of players that are not in form. And then what happens is at the start of the season, we had Ben Rama, who finally looked like the player that we all thought we were signing. Yeah. And then we had Flynn Downs, who's coming. But then we have Flynn Downs, who's coming and look really good. Do you not want to bring these players in who look like they're in form and kind of and fucking play them? Do you know what I mean? If that's what I don't understand.
You know what you're missing? And I hate to say it, you're missing the noble in the dressing room.
Yes, that's a good point. It's a good point, but nonetheless, we've just gone out. We've spent 180 million in the transfer window. If we needed somebody of influence in that dressing room, that changing room, that should have been key as well. They should have no. What I'm saying is they should have gone out and recruited someone like that. They should have filled that void. There's plenty of people out there.
That's Rice is up now. He's the captain.
It's a big but he's a young man. But he's a young man. He's a young man.
That's it. That's his job.
But you're suggesting that he can't do that job or he's not doing that job because he's definitely fucking off. Whether that's the case, but whether that's the case or not, Mike, if he does go in the summer, we let him go with open arms, whatever you want to say. I don't know what you called it. He's going to go, right? But what I'm saying is filling Noble's boots is a massive role, mate. You can't instill.
I agree.
You can't instill Noble's love for the club from the age of 11 to someone who's been there.
You need Noble in the change room was there some sort of go-between the players, just to say.
Yeah, of course, massively.
Yeah. Also, I'm not being funny. Building on what Mike said, right? We know that Rice is off in the summer, so the players know that Rice is off in the summer.
Yeah,
and yet he's the club captain, right? Now, I don't want to have a go at Deck because he always gives his heart and soul and everything else, right? Yeah. But I'm just saying that could be the attitude that the other players towards him.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe I don't know, but I don't think that can excuse some of the performances from some of the other players, though.
No,
Because
exactly.
Deck's performances are still up there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it shouldn't be. And you know what? No, but listen, on the pitch, right?
No, he hasn't been brilliant. Mike's right. He hasn't been brilliant. He hasn't been his usual self.
No, but I think he's been a good player. And when it comes to match day, I think every player should be a fucking captain. I think the captain's job that we're missing was the stuff that was behind the scenes, was what Mark Noble used to do, the club captain. Yeah. When you step out onto the pitch, you should all take responsibility for your own fucking performance.
Listen. I'm not talking about myself, but when I did that show the other week, when you realise the players and the staff and the backroom staff, and even the non-playing players who were just massive squad members, that sense of togetherness has gone. Because, and I'm not blaming the new players, but they're new to the club. They're generally from overseas. It's a whole new country, culture, environment, club. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm not putting that down to the form because, yes, that does point fingers at Moyes and the coaching staff, but it does make things a lot harder to bring that togetherness. And that is what a squad needs. And we had that with the small squad and the British-based, the long-serving players that we had. Now it's different and it's harder for Moyes, and I don't think he can bring them together as quickly as the others were.
No.
And this is again where he struggles, like at Man U. He can't bring.
I think he's going for the lowest common denominator at the moment, and that is we are going into every game approaching it the same way now. So it ain't like we ain't only saving the defensive approach for the likes of Man City, of Chelsea, of Tottenham, and people like that. We're doing it in every single game.
Yeah.
That's what worries me more than anything. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, and do you think with David Moyes, because the only thing that I can put it down to, because he's way more cautious this year than he was last year or the year before.
Yeah.
Is it the weight? Is it the extra money that he's had to spend? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know. He spent it. I really don't think he spent it.
No, but what I mean is, whatever the case, whether he's had these players handed to him or not, that extra pressure to deliver now is something different. And it just looks like to me, he seems petrified in the Premier League. He's just setting out to not lose.
He does. You know? Yeah.
It seems quite strong. But what I'm going to say is, Mike, we've got another few guests coming on now. Give us your verdict on the game today, and first of all, what do you think about David Moyes?
I wasn't there at the game. I didn't see it.
Oh no! We'll
Chessington.
Tell us about David Moyes. What are your thoughts on David Moyes before you?
I am petrified because since January our form is relegation. It is pure relegation, and he will not change. And now he's blaming his tried and tested players. I'm absolutely petrified. I really think we're in a relegation fight.
Yeah, it's never a good sign when he's coming
Europe
out.
He's over everything.
Yeah. No, I know. Okay, mate. Well, look, Mike, we're gonna let you go now, mate, because we're gonna throw a few more people on. So join us back in the chat. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, Mike. Bye, Michael. I just had to go and get my vodka, lime, and lemonade. I do apologise. Chin chin.
Oh, chin chin.
See you later, Mike.
See you, Mike. Cheers, mate. Thanks very much. There we are. Right. Okay. We do have one more in the chat, and I'm just going to wait for Luke to turn up before we introduce you. You all right?
Shall I go through some more comments then?
Yeah, go for a few comments, and then we'll introduce them both. Yeah.
We won't really we won't go into them. We'll just read them out. Matt Wallace. Moyes is a coward. He has sensed that we're in trouble, and instead of trying to pick up wins by playing attacking football, he's completely gone into his shell and he's playing.
That's accurate, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say coward, but I agree with the point.
What are your thoughts on the board not honouring their commitment to give him 45 of the players' new improved contract? Huh?
What?
Oh, that's hashtag in Moyes I trust, Peter.
All right. Our players from last season haven't improved. They've got a year older. Interesting one here from Paul Chambers. I think he's on holiday, mate. Would Nolan do a caretaker role? That's hard to throw him in, isn't it? Imagine throwing him in.
Yeah.
I think you'd do all right, though.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't say no at the moment. I think we just need to try something different.
Isn't it ironic? Last season we were scoring for fun in the Prem, whilst
I know.
This season we can't buy a goal in the Prem when we have a striker.
I know, but again, I do think that comes down to the fact that Moyes is right with what he said, and they've identified it. other teams have sussed out that counter. People are paying us more respect now. They're playing deeper. They're not letting us get in behind them anymore. You know.
Yeah. This is interesting because I noticed this today. I mean, there was an incident when he actually ran onto the pitch and booted the ball because he said there was time wasting. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, he did.
But, there is something up at the club with coaches and Moyes' body language. I'm not going to say there's something up at the club or in the dressing room or anything like that, but Moyes today was looking the most frustrated, and he looked like, I'm not going to say, I don't like saying it, but he looked like a man on the brink, literally. I felt he looked a little lost.
He must be under severe pressure now.
He's worried about his job. I get that.
Yeah.
You know, I get that. So
yeah, and look, I feel for the guy. I really like David Moyes. It's horrible seeing a manager go through this, but I think that I don't know. It's getting to that point. We're probably within a few games now. We're going to have to make a decision about him.
No, it has. I saw Garino bring this up here, but I read this earlier on Twitter. I think the big issue is the stats say we have stopped running and covering the miles.
Yeah, no, I know. That's a shocker.
Someone mentioned that.
That was the basic of our success has gone.
Russ mentioned that today, didn't he, Nick?
Oh, it might have been Russ then.
But they said it on the actual stream. They said we're kind of 18th or 19th in sprints and stuff like that. We're sort of down the bottom in every respect, not just in points.
I don't have illegal streams, Nick. I watch BT and Proper Sky, mate. I don't know what stream you're on about. You big fraud, you. That's interesting because now I think about it, then that's when you start to question the relationship with Moyes and the players, because that's the very least he always got out of them. So, I'm not going to start saying there's a split between players and manager. I'd hate to think there is, but that's what it looks like if you look at that comment. You know what I mean, Gal?
Right, what?
Okay, right. I'll bring myself back.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't like smoke. I don't like smoking on screen. Sorry.
It's not a happy
camera. Oh, you'd rather be ignorant and turn your camera off instead.
Yeah, but there's people trying to go to sleep and he's ugly mugs on screen.
Shut up. Right, okay. Let's bring in the guests.
How many we got?
Hundreds.
We've got Luke. Hello, Luke. How you doing?
You're all right, Luke.
How you doing, boys? You all right?
How you doing, mate? You're all right. And we've got, last but by no means least, we've got Anton. How you doing, Anton? From West Ham Network. Thanks for joining us on our anniversary show, mate.
Yeah, happy anniversary, lads.
Thank you very much.
Sorry. We're gonna have to. I might have to get the subtitles up because I don't know what he said there.
Well, you never struggled the last time we spoke. You never struggled.
It's because you're 6'9". I was.
No. The first thing you said to me was, "You're not as big as the rest of them," and I said, "Yes, because you're standing 2 steps up." Anyway, oh fuck yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. How are we, gents? Anyway. You all good, Anton?
I've been listening to you guys, so I'm
sorry about
that. No, listen, I'm extremely half glass full West Ham fan. And
Johnny is, and Gary is as well.
Yeah. And I hold my hand up to that. I totally will, and I'll always try and see the positives from things. But today was kind of not the final nail in the coffin or anything like that, but just. It's frustrating, and I'm probably thinking exactly the way that every West Ham fan is thinking, because the excuse for things like players need time to bed into a team, that to me that's wore thin, because I look at players like Isaac from Newcastle, who's been signed and he's gone straight into the team and he's got 2 goals in the Premier League now, so he's off the mark in the Premier League. Yeah, Scamacca's off the mark in Europe, but it's still not the Premier League. Now what we find ourselves in is that we're going into the 1st of October. Our record striker is not starting games regularly in the Premier League. And we've now got another break in the season. So he's had a virus. He's came back. He's not been fully fit. He's had a little run out here, there, and everywhere. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, surely you want to play these players because they have to have playing time to get familiar with the league, to adapt. Yeah,
of course they do. Yeah.
So that's one of the first points. You know, that's frustrating. What I get frustrated at is what you've all said about certain players not being able to be dropped or benched, like Vladimir Sofao. That's the biggest concern for me, is that area that down the right. I can't believe it. I mean, I've got the guy's top and I love the guy, but for me, he's just lost that pace. And I absolutely think Kira is a fantastic player. And I honestly think moving forward, what needs to happen temporarily is either Dawson comes into the team with Zuma and we move Kira out to the right.
Yeah.
And I mean, who are we sitting here saying this? And then if Moyes doesn't do it, why? That's what I don't understand is why. Because for me, it's quite clear. It's very clear when you look back at all the games and look back at all the goals, a lot of the issues. Damari Gray got man of the match today. He absolutely terrorized Sufal down that right-hand side.
I mean, do you not think it's kind of when you play the 4-2-3-1, which I think is a good formation for us if we had fullbacks sort of self-sufficient and they didn't need to be babysat. Because what happens is when you see Fornals as a left winger on that team sheet, to me, that shows you what the game plan is straight away, because you know that Fornals, a job that he does, he basically babysits Cresswell defensively. He's going back there. He's quite regressed. And I think the same might be happening with Bowen this year as well. I think that might be why he's because I think if Moyes unleashes the shackles on players like he obviously did with Bowen last year, we saw what happened. But I don't think we're seeing Bowen going forward as much as what we were. I think we're just a lot deeper. And if you've got Paqueta, a new number 10, who's renowned for being this sort of flamboyant, player who, can pick a pass, this, that, the other. If the only passing option he's got in front of him is a ball into feet to Antonio, I don't really know what we want from him, to be honest. It is a bit of a strange one. It is a bit of a strange one. And again, I don't think that we can really change formation because when he plays three at the back, because we're all right with on the left-hand side. You've got Emerson now. He's all right. He can play that left wing-back role, fine. But Sufal is not a right wing-back, Anton, is he? He's really not.
No. It's a shame because when he first came in, obviously he was fantastic and he's been brilliant. I think he's got a place in the squad. I don't doubt that for a second. Yeah. I think he's totally got a place somewhere. But to start the game when we're consistently getting attacked down that side, it's frustrating. But when you come to the forward line, I know it's Europa League conference. I get that. I understand it's against specific opposition. But, when we signed these players like Max Cornet, like Lucas Paqueta, like Scamacca, and we're now 7 games into the Premier League and 2 or 4 games in total in Europe we've played, surely to God, it's offering something new. It's fresh. It's different. And I can't remember which one of you said it earlier on, but teams are now looking at West Ham and going, well, we know what Fornals is going to do with respect. We know what Antonio's going to do with respect. I feel sorry for Antonio because I agree with one of you. I thought he actually had an alright game, but he was marked by 2 or 3 people all game today. And what is it that he's not seeing? Other teams, I had my dad on the stream with me today. And my dad said during the games, why is Scamacca not playing? And I'm like, I fucking don't know. I really don't know what it's going to take for him to come on the field. What was the point in bringing Cornet and Benrahma on, and then 5 minutes later, or whatever it was, bringing Scamacca on? Just throw them on together. And
that's what I'm saying. That killed it for me to take off Antonio. That was a point where I wanted to throw my telly out the window. When Scamacca came on and Antonio came off, you're thinking, why? I mean, like I said, because the thing is, I've mentioned it earlier, with Antonio as well, you can afford to go 2 up top, because then, say, for instance, you throw the kitchen sink, you get your goal. And then if you do want to play a bit more reserved, Antonio's almost like a bit of a utility player. He can play other roles. So you could shift him out to the right wing. He can do different things, can't he? So I don't know why he's dead against it. And what were the comments? I didn't see it. The comments after the game you mentioned earlier on, Gary. What he said was they said to the interviewer said to him, a lot of fans are asking for you to play 2 up front. And he said, well, he's a bit patronising to start with. He said, fans will say that when times are hard, won't they? And they want to see some goals. But he said, if you play 2 up front, the problem is you've got to play 3 at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have let Anton do that quote because it would have been more realistic.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You should have done the accent, Gary. I think you would have been quick at it.
Authenticity. Yeah. But anyway, Luke, how are you, mate?
I'm fine. I think this is the longest I've ever gone on a video without saying anything, so it's a bit of a.
That's why we got Anton on to manage.
That's
shut you up, mate.
Did you land it all right? Luke, did you land it okay at Heathrow? Did you land it all right?
Yeah. A bit wobbly here and there, but eventually got. I can't win. Honestly, I can't win with this. I've even got the wrong
He's changed his wallpaper. He's changed his wallpaper.
The whole thing, everything. The lighting's probably crap. Yeah. Got too much beard on me. Or
sorry. Go on, Luke.
I'm I'm only joking, but go on, Luke. Always keen to hear what you got to say, mate. Let rip, mate. So let us know your thoughts at the moment.
I'm quite glad in a way that Gary's come out in a hoodie and not a gimp suit because his camera went off and then all I could was a zip going.
I know.
And I thought, hold on, what's going on here?
I'm in my shed at the end of the garden. It's getting a bit chilly, you know. It's getting a bit chilly.
That's our Thursday night show, Luke. That's a different one.
I'll keep in touch with that one. There's a few things, but the first, I don't know if anyone saw it, but before the game started, there was a clip of the players warming up, and I only saw what must have been the last bit of the clip, but Antonio went in for a tackle on Paqueta and left one on him.
I saw that,
and it looked to me, all the players are going, what have you done? And then, but it didn't seem to be from Antonio like, what have I done? It was.
I saw that, Luke. I saw that, and I said to Ross, my son, we were watching the game together. I said, "The fucking hell, we're doing things like that in, just before the game." So you're exactly right.
An aggressive rondo, basically.
And this goes back to what I said earlier about is there a click going on, right? Because do you remember first half? Going back to the game a minute. I'll hand back to you a minute, Luke. Promise. Antonio had a ball. Antonio had a ball, a crossfield ball open for Paqueta. And he didn't quite hit it hard enough, did he?
It was. I don't know if he would do that intentionally, Antonio.
Well, I'm just saying. There's a little bit of. I just got a feeling there's a little bit of a click going on there between the old players and the new players.
He looks incredibly pissed off when he got removed. And then did you see the clips of Antonio afterwards? He almost looked like he was going to cry. He looked very upset. I know you'd expect him to be upset at losing the game, but he looked distraught, to be quite honest.
That's a little bit worrying, to be fair. On Moyes with the substitutions and stuff. But I know people call that 4-4-2. I'd like to see two up front. You can play the best probably way in the modern football era is probably the best to play 3, 5, and 2, whichever way you can make it out. We probably haven't got the players, the mobile centre backs. Like Kera, because Zuma to me is a walking injury, and Dawson hasn't got the pace, but he's very good at doing the old Collins stuff of just bucking out the field. But there probably is a way you could do it in a team. Maybe not playing the same old players would be a start. But I know people were saying that why don't you chuck on Skamaka and make it 2 up front and go for it? Well, the worst thing about it, Moyes' mentality is today is to a level he'll see today as a win because he's only lost 1-0. And he will go in his head, I'd rather lose 1-0 than go and try and get a 2-1 win, because to him that's too risky. And like you say, in the Conference League, it might be fine because he knows genuinely the teams aren't going to be able to score against us. We got away with it a little bit on Thursday night, but generally in the Premier League, he's going, there's no way I'm risking that. There's no way I'm risking going 2-0 down because
it sounds ridiculous what you're saying, but when you look at the fact that he doesn't actually really go for it at any point, I mean,
never.
I'll
tell you one little thing though, is that it really pissed me off. And I was in a pub watching it with brother and stuff, and a few of us said the same thing. We only started looking up for it once we went 1-0 down. There was there was motivation. You could see in the players were running around while they were trying to create more, and perhaps that's because Everton were defending more because they were going to try and defend the lead. But generally, all throughout the game, it was so tepid, and we were working on the counter attack again. But the only time we ever thought see us go right, we're going to have a go now, is once we went 1-0 down, and that's fine if you're going to score a goal or whatever. But why can't that happen from the first minute?
The thing for me, the big thing for me is we was all over the moon with the transfer window. Predominantly all those players we brought in are pushing what we've already got to be first team players. We have the capacity now to take the game to teams.
Yep.
And I know that the system did work, but when it's not working, when you've got the squad, the players to take the game to opposition, you've got to do it. Yep. What's the point of having them?
I think the problem is when the system works for 2 solid years that it has, then people pick up on what you're doing, and therefore you have to change and be a little bit different. So that's why, like, when you look at the lineup, I was trying my best to be positive with the lineup today. I really was, but it was tough. It was so fucking tough because when I seen it, I was like, oh man, like, and one of the biggest players that I think goes under the radar right now is Max Corney. I mean, I know he's not putting the ball in the back of the net as such, but he's finding himself in positions.
He's a direct runner, isn't he?
He is.
He
is. But I tell you what, he bridges the gap. He absolutely bridges the gap between the striker and the midfield. That's something we missed. I don't like to mention his name, but when Lingard joined the club, that's exactly what he did. He was a progressive, forward-thinking player on his front foot.
He travels every single element of the pitch. He's out in the right, he's out in the left. He gets into dangerous positions. He hits the target. And once he gets a goal, it will be probably a selection of goals moving forward.
Yeah, it's that ball carrier in that final third. And do you know what? I was kind of hoping that Paqueta was gonna be that ball carrier, but I don't think he is. I just think he's just a brilliant number 10. That he's creative. But I was expecting a player that could pick the ball up and do what you're talking about, Anton, that could go on a few runs.
I think players like Paqueta need probably Corney's, Emerson's, Scamacca's, because when Paqueta's playing with Antonio drops heavily out to the left most of the time. Apart from being up top and doing what he does, he goes out left all the time. Scamacca doesn't do that. So when Scamacca drops deep, you've got Emerson, you've got Paqueta, you've got Corney, you've got options, and they know how to work well off each other. Now, Emerson, Corney, and Paqueta all had a bit of a history at Lyon together. And all performed reasonably well together. And you see little snippets of that when they play in the Europa Conference League. And you saw it against Silkeborg. Again, I get it. Opposition is a little bit different. But they can be creative together. And I think that's what Paqueta needs. And I don't think Paqueta works with a direct Antonio. As simple as that. I really don't think he does.
No, I think you're right. I think Antonio is, in the Moyes system, I don't think there's very many players, if any, that can do what Antonio does, because he's a jack of all trades. He can run the channels. He can do that. He can do all of that. But he isn't a natural number 10, and that's not having a go at him. I think he's brilliant, Antonio. But he isn't. Yep. He's I don't know. He's got a very unique skill set, hasn't he?
Yeah. We shouldn't say his skill set either.
No, I know. He's very effective. But one of the points that we were going to touch on, which we haven't yet, and it kind of a little bit of the elephant in the room from Thursday night, after the previous Thursday against Bucharest. Man of the match, Flynn Downs. We were all going, where the fuck is Downs on Thursday night? And then we thought the only rationale behind that was Moyes must be saving him for today. No Downs. So explain to me what the hell was Thursday night all about? Where's Downs? What is going on there? Because even the pre-match press conference before the Bucharest game, where it became apparent that Downs was going to get game time, Moyes wasn't very kind of inspiring when he spoke about Downs. It's almost, it comes across like he doesn't really like him. You know, that's the impression that you get to a degree. And I don't know. What do you think about it? What do you think about the Downs story, Anton, at the moment?
Moyes said in his press conference, pre-Everton press conference, the Silkeborg press conference, that the pitch was going to play a part on some of the players. Now I'm trying to find a gap. I'm trying to find the reason why Downs didn't even get any game time when players that I thought wouldn't have got game time playing on an artificial pitch did. So the only thing I can put that down to, the fact that we didn't see him against Silkeborg and didn't see him against Everton, was that he was never going to play him against Silkeborg, or it was a pitch problem. And then Souček was always going to step back into the position. Now, obviously, we saw him against FCSB. He looked quality. He looked really good. Dominated the game, man of the match performance. Perfect time for him to get a second run out, which I don't understand. And the only thing I can put that down to was he one of the players that were potentially going to be risked because there's maybe a niggling injury that he's had in the past that doesn't react well to artificial pitches. I think I'm probably thinking of a long shot here.
I thought Downs, when you look at the way that Downs played against Bucharest on an AstroTurf, we'll play football on an AstroTurf. You've got to play a quick, short, sharp passing game. I think Downs would have been ideal for that. He just does the simple things. He just turns the ball over really, really quickly. And I think we missed a trick there. But I think the thing is, I mean, look, I don't know. I just get. I mean, because you was frustrated with that, Gary, weren't you?
I just think it was ridiculous. So I went to the FCSB game and I thought Downs was outstanding. And standing next to my cousin Paul, we both left that stadium. In fact, Ross said as well. All three of us said he was man of the match. He was man of the match. He played really, really well. He was in control of it, especially in the second half where he freed up Rice to go forward. Right. Yeah. And that's the first time we've seen Rice given that freedom, because he doesn't get that playing alongside Souček. So we thought, bloody hell, Moyes has stumbled across something here. Can't wait for the next game. He's going to get some game time. And then he's on the bench, an unused substitute. You're just thinking, I'm a bit worried. I'll tell you what, I'm a bit worried that Moyes is in that managerial death spiral that comes at the end of every manager. Right, where they get stuck in doing the same thing over and over again, and they can't get themselves out of it. Right, they cannot get themselves out of it. We see it with Pellegrini, we see it with Bilic, we see it with every manager who got fired. And I'm really worried that Moyes is in that spiral at the moment.
I think most managers of any clubs, they get to that stage at some point in their career, don't they? That's generally how they part ways with the club they're managing. They become stuck in their ways. They become, whatever you want to call it. But the thing is with Moyes is, look, I'm a big fan of Moyes. People, whatever you want to say, but he is just hanging himself because he's saying one thing and doing the opposite. And that's the frustrating thing. Because for someone like me, I'm thinking, no, fuck, don't say that. You're giving the anti-Moyes lot ammunition. And I'm not saying people shouldn't feel like that about Moyes, but it's us and them almost, isn't it? Or them and us. It's the way the fan base works. So I feel like saying to Moyes, don't say things and you're giving yourself a bad name almost. You're making yourself look a mug. You're mugging yourself off.
He slightly done that when he first came to the club, which is put himself on a pedestal by saying, that's what I do, I'll win. And I saw a post on Facebook a little while back saying we've had 2 wins in the last however so many games it is. And honestly, there's a part of me that actually thinks he's worried he's not good enough at this level, because it's like, I think when you look at him on the touchline, when you look
at this end of the spectrum, because that's always been my concern, is that at this end, what we're trying to do now, I don't think he's right for that type of job.
Well, it probably isn't, to be fair.
Let me just give you before you carry on, Luke. 22 games, last 22 games, we've won 5, drawn 4, lost 13, scored 13 goals, conceded 36, 19 points from an available 66. Sorry, back to you.
No, yeah, that's a good stat.
Not good, is it? Not good.
No, it doesn't make it for good reading. He's. I think you're right, Gary. I mean, I'm in the John or Virgil camp.
You called me Mike last time, so make up your mind, mate.
Yeah, sorry, Pete. But yeah, I don't want to. I've grown up with West Ham managers being sacked and after couple of years or even before that, right? And it's me being a little bit maybe naive, let's say, because I do want to give him the opportunity. He said in an interview, I think with Jake Humphries or something about a year ago, what's after your Sociedad days and Sunderland days and the Man United imagine did go well, what's changed? He was like, I've been in UEFA, I've been working here over in Europe, and I've been educated myself, and I've become a better coach all round, and it showed because we were actually doing well on the pitch. He was like, that makes sense. And then now it's like, okay, well, this is the next level, and like, how educated can he be? And I know we're giving in games, I know there's a certain amount of games into the season, but I kind of got fed up with sacking managers a little. I think even before Pellegrini joined up, but there is a point when you go, even if I don't want you to go, I think it's best for you to go. And I'm not going to do that now. I'll do that in a few games' time, where possibly it's too late, and I should have said this.
Going back to John's point earlier on, I don't know if you heard this when we were talking about that, Luke. What is either John or Gary? What's been released is the stat. Obviously when Moyes came in, it was quite a relatively. He done a great job. He saved us, but it's a relatively simple job. We're bottom of the running stats. We're bottom of this. We're bottom of that. He knows
I heard
what he's
that
got
before
to do.
I come on, actually.
So now what he did was he moved that up, and obviously that was reflected in their performances. Because the effort was there. Now it looks like that's regressing. The effort levels aren't there. What does that suggest that means to you? Is that style, or is that a reflection of the fact that the team are just not performing like they were for Moyes?
I don't think it's the players that are not performing. I think it's Moyes can't get the players performing like he wants them to, because things have changed. Fundamentally, things have changed. The players have had new experiences. We've had new players brought in. Bowen's gone to England for, over the summer, whatever it is, and come back and not looked half the player he was. Whether that's due to other concerns, I'm not sure. But like I think I said when I was on the previous video with you guys, is that when he come in, he had one job to do, and that was keep us up. And then I don't think anyone expected us to get around that European mark. Suddenly Jesse Lingard coming, which doesn't make sense. Still, the Lingard situation will never ever make sense to me, because when he come in, he's not given the same freedom to Ben Rama. He didn't give the same freedom to Paqueta now he's coming. He hasn't given the same freedom to certain other players who could, in my opinion, be just as good as Lingard on their day. Didn't get. I don't know why. That doesn't make sense. But the trouble with that is the fact there's no problem with still having those running stats and still being successful and still winning in Europe and everything like that. And the only thing I could think of is that it's very simple. You run, you work hard, the fans will love you, and you might get a 1-0 win out of it if you go away to a team who's struggling, right? Now, he's got to evolve. He has to evolve. It's not all about running. It's not all about running over. You know what I mean?
This is my thing here. I was racking my brains the other day. David Moyes is first and foremost a pragmatic manager. Yes, would we agree?
Yeah.
As a manager in that style, ever managed successfully to change the way that they play, to change their style? He obviously fiercely believes in what he does. This is how Moyes sees the game. He's got his philosophy. Can a manager change that? Can they adapt?
See, I'm not Moyes out by any means. However, there's a however to that. There is a however to that, because I feel like Moyes has obviously contributed to the recent success that we've had as West Ham in our modern era. Watching a successful team be consecutively doing well. So I get that, and I'm there. That's where I'm at. However, that also means that I don't want West Ham to fall at the final hurdle and absolutely collapse under our eyes and stuff like that. So I think for the amount of time that he's given to West Ham and pushed us somewhere, he deserves time to try and change it, but it's what time he gets. So not that he has the noose around his neck and then we're going to kick the step away from below him, but enough for him to know that, you know what, I think October, because we've got the 9 games followed by the 4 in November, it's so telling. And it's going to be the first time really that as long as the players come back from international duty, that we've got them all together and they've got an opportunity to then go and get consistency and momentum. So Skamaka get game time, regular game time, Corney get regular game time. When I was talking about this game against Everton, I was thinking maybe he won't change it up. Like, we want him to change it up, but maybe he won't, because maybe he's thinking in his head, I'm going to unleash it come October. Whether that's a stupid analogy or not, I don't know. But October is so important for West Ham. I mean, I've seen people in the comments saying they think Moyes is gone on Tuesday. I don't think he is. No, I won't believe it until I see that.
Somebody made a really good point. Sorry to interrupt, Anton. I did an irrational rant earlier on after the game, and I had some comments in there, and there was a really good comment. I mentioned this earlier on, and what the guy said was, we're at a stage now where whether or not you want Moyes to succeed or give him time, this, that, the other, based on the evidence of the last 10 months, is probably a big ask. Does he deserve it based on the last 2 years? Yes, he does deserve to be given a chance. He does, but we're at a stage now where we have got a fantastic group of players now. There are still a few weaknesses here and there, like we've highlighted, right back, whatever. But there's still a lot of the season left. If we were to get rid of Moyes now, if that were to happen, we would find it far easier to go out and get a better style of manager with so much of the season left. If we just sit and we wait for half of the season to go, whereby whichever manager comes in knows that all they're in for is a fucking relegation battle, you're after a different type of manager. So in that sense, what do you do? What is the right thing to do? Do you just sit and wait?
It does become a gamble then, doesn't it? But then equally though, I think, 12 games, the next 12 games, I mean, if, just for talking sake, if he switches it up and gives us what we want, and it's, the big if is, will they click? Will they click? And when and if they do, which I think they will, if he puts them in the team together and they start getting that bit of consistency, then a run of 4 or 5 games where we get 12, 13, 14 points. I'm not saying we won't forget what he does and what he's capable of doing, but things will definitely be eased. But he has to do that, doesn't he?
But Anton, what you read out earlier, the team you read out earlier really turned me on, I must admit, when you're talking about Paqueta behind Skamaka with Cornet on one side. That is what we all want to see, right? Do you honestly think you're going to see that team next month?
I'm putting my faith in Moyes for that.
No,
yes.
What I'm saying is, no, be honest. What do you think you're going to see?
Well, I think we have. The biggest thing that Moyes has to do is recognise. He spoke out. I've listened to what he said after the game, and I'm not impressed by just what he says. No. I think these people have to actually turn around and realise, well, do you know what? I'm also to blame for this. It's not just you. And I think that makes him bigger, and he learns him. Surely,
is he taking the piss? Breaking news: he's been sacked. Is he?
He's not been sacked.
I'm gonna have to have a look.
Nick, you're looking more in hope
said-
than anything else. This is the thing. Nick's
Hang on 1
looking-
minute.
If this is true, Nick will invite us out tonight.
Nick has got like a custom
will.
alert on his phone. You know,
Anton, I'll come and pick you up, mate. We go out tonight if more than sack.
As long as I'll fucking drive, mate.
I can't say that. I think he's oh, you bastard.
He's done you.
Yeah,
but I think I'm putting my faith in him. Like I get it. I get people in the chat are going to go like you're fucking talking deluded, Anton. Like you're a half glass full. I get that, but we're all entitled to our own opinions. But I'm still going down the route of he's got us to where he's got us to. Yes,
hang on. Breaking news.
I'll let you.
Is it the one in the picture?
It's the one in the picture. Yeah, he said it last time. Yeah.
Can we see a picture of you, Mrs. First, please?
But I think am I related to Moyes, Peter?
I just say that as well.
Yeah, I'm related to him. We're having a fucking iron brew bath later on, so that you can watch it. But I'm willing to give him a bit of time. I mean, listen. Question for you guys is then. Next 4 or 5 games, what's the difference between, say, sacking Moyes now and then sacking him in 5 or 6 games, giving him a shot? Like, what is that the difference of pulling in a big manager?
I think that is a difference. I think that's what we're talking about. I think we've now. I reckon if you were to go to a Pochettino, he's a big name. He's a big name manager, right? No, but I think at the moment, I would imagine most managers would look at the group of players that we've got at the moment and go, do you know what? That don't look too bad. I think that that is an attractive group. It's an attractive team. We're only 7 games into the season. I don't know if it's that attractive. If we're on our arses and we're still in the bottom 3 after 20 games, I don't think it's that attractive.
Nick, we've got already made replacement. Go on, Luke. Sorry, mate.
But just on that, there is the whole point of we might be in a relegation zone, but we could potentially still be in the Conference League. And not a lot of managers in their career get a chance to manage a team in Europe now. If you got someone up, just hypothetically, if you got someone in like Poch, but you got Paqueta in there, right? So that's a world-class player. That's someone that most managers would go, hold on, I'm never going to get the opportunity to manage a player like that in my career. Plays in the Brazil team. He's one of the I don't see it personally. I don't rate him at the moment very highly, but that's what the world is saying. So if you've got a manager like Pochettino, okay, he might not want to be managing a relegation, but he might not want to even know how to manage a team in that position. But if he goes, well, if I can just keep them up and I can actually get somewhere to final of the Conference League or even win it, then that ups the game. And I think in a way that is part of the reason why Moyes possibly is still here at the club, because our league form dramatically dropped off last year, but we were still doing well in Europe. And it is a huge pull for managers, and there's a lot of teams in it. There's a lot of
I think it's an exciting project, and what we've proved since Moyes has come in, Luke, is that the board are backing the manager.
This is another point. I don't think they will sack him purely because of the fact that they've given him so much money to spend.
Yeah, no. But I think we have built quite a flexible squad that would be.
Let me just say, right? We've played 7 league games. The next 3 league games, we've got to win a couple of them. We're at home to Wolves, we're at home to Fulham, and then we're away to Southampton. I reckon we've got to win a couple of those.
I agree.
Got to win the home ones, definitely.
Maybe I should try this. Mr. Mace, shocking today, but I've just manscaped my ball bag and I feel a bit better for it. Maybe I should give that a go. I might feel better.
Yeah, that will take a long time to manscape your ball bags. I've seen them. You know, like Bob Marley down your trousers.
His show, I think he's after the watershed, isn't it? Yeah.
That's all right. You can mention Bob Marley anytime, don't worry.
Okay, yeah. Late night with Virgil and Nick. It's.
But look, I'll tell you what. Let's get down to the crux of it, right? If we were in a situation, first of all, if you had the opportunity now, let me ask you, Anton, right? I'm going to ask you now. No, honestly, right? If I gave you the opportunity now of either a Poch or a Tuchel could come in now. No, I'm asking you, would you take it? Would you do it now, or would you go, no, let's wait 5 games, 10 games, see what Moyes can do? Go on, tell me.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. No, give him 3 or 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, whatever. Yeah. Okay. No, that's fine. I do think it is, though. I'm worried about just knee-jerk reactions. I get it's been going on a long term, but
10 months. This is in a league. We've got to take the. But
it equals up somewhere. Europa League semi-final, that was the priority. That became the priority. That was the thing for us, and obviously we didn't get where we got to. And but you're
basically a Scottish Virgil. That's what you are. He's
well, the thing is, though, do you know what? See the Pellegrini. see Pellegrini. Pellegrini properly scarred me, as he probably did most West Ham fans, because when we signed him, we all fell for it. When we signed the players, we all fell for it. Look what happened, and for me, it's just I don't want to.
No, that's fine. Again, I can understand that. Look, we've all got different opinions. Right, Luke, on to you. You, if manager of your choice, right? Poch, fucking Pochettino, Tuchel, Brendan Rodgers, who's going to be looking for a job soon.
Oh no!
Right, go on. Go on. If I give you that now, what do you do? Do you do it or do you wait?
I go completely left field, even more than that. Just on that. I would take Tuchel, but I don't, because I don't mind the football. As long as
what I'm saying is, so you would literally go buy Moyes?
No. I would.
I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say it now. I'm buying Moyes. I am.
Nick, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Nick?
Yeah, go on.
This is, and you're going to get angry when I ask this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, right? Because I don't give a monkeys anymore. The problem is, you've got the Moyes out, the Moyes in, the Moyes not so sure at the minute, right?
Yeah. So it's fence sitters. Right? You've all got splinters in your asses.
Right. No, I ain't got splinters in my asses. Yeah. You know where I stand. Right. But what I'm saying to you is this. I'm going to ask you this question, right? Are you want him out? Fine. And if you're honest,
now I'm sure. Now I'm sure.
Shut up a minute. Be honest. You've wanted him out for a while. You've kept it under wraps, apart from our WhatsApp group. I haven't wanted him out for a while. I've been getting frustrated for a while. Backhanded compliments. I know what you're about.
Yeah, but that's why I'm not. I do the same to you, John. I don't want you out.
No, I know you do. But listen, be honest. Do you sort of think I'd rather not win the next game? Because if we did win the next game, it gives him an extra. It gives him,
mate, that's what I'm saying. But this is my fucking fear is that he goes and gets we scrape 3 points against Fulham.
You're fearful.
Yeah, but then that buys him another 10 games because we'll have to wait. That cycle of patience, that cycle of deep patience, we'll start again.
Hang on. So in theory, you are scared of West Ham, your club, winning a game of football. That's what I can't get my head around.
I'm not scared of us winning a game of football. No, you're suggesting today that I wanted us to lose. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't even finish the question.
But you're suggesting today that I wanted West Ham to lose.
No, I'm joking. You just fooled them for it, hook, line, and sinker.
No way. Honestly, I was actually happy. If I'm honest today, when I saw the lineup, because I think the guy can't fucking manage. He can't do what we're asking him to do. So when I saw him go 4-2-3-1, what was my message in the WhatsApp group chat, Gary? I said, "Thanks, he's going back to what he knows. Hopefully, it just works, and we can grind out a point."
I agree.
I weren't happy with it, but I think at least he knows how to do that. You know,
there will be fans out there that would rather lose, so he goes though. Nick might
not. I would never hope that we lose.
Nick's not that extreme.
No, I would never hope that we lose.
I think, look, your hypothetical situation, your hypothetical question to Anton and Luke was ridiculous anyway, because look, Tuchel and Poch are not lining up to join West Ham, right?
No. Let me ask you, Gary.
I think the question should be. I think the question. No.
Answer that question. You have to answer that question. They answered it. They answered it. You have to answer it. So, Poch or Tuchel?
Surround sound ain't good for this.
Listen, if you gave me a choice of Poch or Tuchel now, I'd say yes, please.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Which one?
I'd take either of them.
Both of them.
Right? I would, because I don't think
Tuchel's got a point to prove at a minute. He wants to come back and
but it's a stupid hypothetical situation. It's not realistic, right? It's not realistic. But if one of those was knocking on the door and they wanted to manage West Ham, I'd say we'd be stupid to turn it down. Right?
So what is your fear? Is your fear Sean Dyche? Is that your fear?
My fear is Sean Dyche and Warburton is the other fear.
Warburton, that's a good
Warburton.
Listen, Warburton is a ready-made caretaker manager, right?
Yeah.
So
low fit, mate. Low fit.
Caretaker.
Can you imagine Warburton coming on the training pitch with Paqueta?
That's right. And Warburton will have a good first 5 games, and they'll give him a fucking 5-year contract. You know they will, right?
I know.
Bielsa, we could go for Bielsa.
Someone said that as well. But I was going to go for him. I'm not going for
him. It'd be good for a year. Bielsa would be good for a year.
Yeah.
Or we finish in the top 6, win the Europa Conference with David Moyes, and we're all happy.
Listen,
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, no, mate. Honestly, it's not.
I do not wish Moyes ill. I hope Moyes succeeds. I genuinely do. I'm closer to John than I am to Nick. But you give me a choice of Poch and Tuchel over Moyes, I'm going to take it, right? Because I'm not that confident that Moyes is going to be successful. In fact, I'm getting less and less confident as the games go on.
There was a comment on. There was a name suggested in the
Joe Gary is Luke. Gary is Moyes out, but in denial. That's what he is.
Fuck off! I am. No, I'm not.
I'm not. Hang on a minute. What's your picks at? Virgil, do you think? I didn't say I didn't want Poch or Tuchel. I just don't think they'll come to West Ham. Genuinely don't think they would.
Why? Why though?
Yeah,
I just don't think. I just don't think. I don't know. I just can't. I think.
I think we're a bit different.
Listen. I think Poch maybe with his Tottenham links, and I think. I just think Tuchel will want to take over Champions League.
But what I'm saying,
I think it's maybe the owners. To be honest, I think with them too, it's going to be
the owners.
It's going to be. Yeah, you've invested now, but what are you going to do in the future? Like I think possibly the 8 signings we made, which was fucking brilliant. If we'd have signed 2 of them last year, it would have made a difference. And then we would have transitioned.
Imagine that in January,
or just in January, or even the year before. So 2 last summer, 2 in the winter, and then 4 this summer. Then we would be slowly progressing rather than having to do this drastic transition that we're doing. So
would anyone take Scott Parker? That was a comment to name.
Add a minute. I would. I actually would. I
was going to suggest something on the lines of it, young and up and coming and hungry and willing to not just be one dimensional all the time. But apparently he was being hard to handle by the Bournemouth owners. So
it'd be great to have a serial failure.
What about Sullivan Jr.? Would he be good? Do you reckon?
I don't know Sullivan Senior, so I don't know Sullivan Junior.
I don't know. It is a fucking hard one, though. I mean,
take a different question. Take a different question, Nick. Right? Because that's a stupid hypothetical. So take another question.
It's
right?
actually not stupid. And you've answered my question. No. Can I just say before you go, right?
You can't stop talking, can you?
Now listen, you've proved my point, Gary. Because basically, if we could get Poch, you'd say buy Moyes. So what you're doing is you're saying I'm going to stick with Moyes because I don't think we can get anyone better.
Well, yeah. No, that's not necessarily the case. Because no, that is not necessarily the case because I wouldn't swap Moyes out for anyone, but I would swap him out for someone that I feel is very special. And I think Poch and Tuchel are very special, right? So there you go. Right. So the question should be this: how many games would you give Moyes? And I mean Premier League games. Would you give Moyes? Assuming he loses a row of games,
question. I'm done.
How many defeats? All right, we won't even ask you that question. How many successive Premier League defeats would you give Moyes until you fired him, John?
What, in a row?
Yeah.
This is a ridiculous question.
If he loses the next 3, he's gone, and I would say that.
So basically, you're like Moyes. You've got to see an extended period of shitness before you can make a decision.
Who? Me?
Listen,
Gary. I'm sorry, Gary.
No, Nick, I am very worried. We're going to lose at home to Wolves and we're going to lose at home to Fulham. I'm very worried, right? I'm very worried.
Yeah.
I think
what do you reckon?
I think if that happens, then Gary, then I mean, the shit's going to hit the fan because Wolves can't score goals. Wolves are not scoring goals right now. So
that's Diego Costa's back now.
Yeah, no, but that's got potential to be a banana skin, and if it is, then holy shit.
And
then Fulham, I know Fulham are looking all right.
They're
looking all right. Like they've stuck with Mitrovic and he's doing a job, and all the other players they brought in are doing a job. So yeah, I mean that's a big concern. I mean, I'm saying to you now, like I want to give him 4 or 5 games, but if you lose 2 or 3 on the bounce, then it's going to be really tough. And the thing is, we shouldn't be in this situation. If we'd got maybe 4 or 5 more points in the league and it hasn't been great, we could understand it a little bit more. But we've now got ourselves in a situation where you're actually counting down the amount of games it would take for our manager to potentially leave the club, which is ridiculous to be in that situation.
It's sad, yeah. It's sad.
Ken came up with a good one. Look here. What about this one?
What?
Yeah.
I think he's quality. Yeah, he's done at Brentford. Is amazing.
Why is he going to walk away from Brentford to come to West Ham?
Well, people say the same thing about.
We're bigger than Brentford.
Yeah, Potter from Brighton to Chelsea.
No. Potter, listen, as much as I hate Chelsea, if you go from Brighton to Chelsea, with all due respect, that's a massive, massive step up. And on current form, there's not much between us and Brentford. I would say. I think actually Brentford play better football than us at the minute. So. I think Potter going to Chelsea is he's got Champions League football. His first game was bloody Champions League game on Tuesday. That's a little bit different, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, but he's got a chairman that's trying to get him to play 4-4-3. You know, that's going to be quite difficult.
I think Anton, you've got to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to get a divorce if I do not leave this chat now.
Before you go, Anton, there's one thing I want to bring up. Do you remember years ago when I think it was about when Bilic was in charge? We played Swansea and beat Swansea 1-0 at London Stadium.
It was the worst atmosphere and worst feeling I've ever had in my life after the game. Yeah.
We won the game.
Awful.
We won the game and we felt like we'd lost the game. That was how the feeling was. What I'm saying is, Gary, you said that how many losses would you give him or whatever along them lines, right? But how would people feel if we scraped wins but didn't play well at all in those games?
To be fair, we've been doing that anyway.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's a results business. It's a results business.
There was a difference with that game though, because that was the build up. That was the middle of the end for Bilic, wasn't it? You know, when I remember Ayew was playing out in the wing. We were at Hope London Stadium, 1-0 win, lackadaisical attitude, lackadaisical in the park. The Payet situation has gone on. Everything was going wrong for West Ham, you know, in the first season of the new stadium. So
good point.
Hang on a minute. Did he not go anywhere else? Julian Nagelsmann. Is he available?
Bayern. He's at Bayern.
Oh, we ain't fucking getting him, are we? If he's at Nagelsmann.
Why not?
He's at Bayern. He's at Bayern.
Why not, Nick?
What? No, I'm talking about Pochettino's out of work. He's on the dole, wasn't he?
Rock and roll.
Signing on.
He's signing
on.
Right, lads, I'm going. Much love. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Anton. See you later.
See you later.
Yep.
Tell him, mate.
Good one. Take it easy.
Right, there we go. And then there were 4.
God, he's gone.
I
felt like I was on Rabsy Nesbitt show.
That's our running joke for him as well.
Good of him to join. Right, so
I won't be on too much longer, lads. I'll let you free over your little chats and stuff.
No, we've got to run through the chat anyway. It's gone off tonight. It's gone off.
Yeah.
But,
bring Father Jack back. He's sitting.
Shall I bring him back in?
Yeah, bring him back in.
He's been shouting at the screen for half an hour.
There he is, Johnny. How many more points have you had, Mike, since we last spoke? You got that's good. That's good.
I'm shouting a lot. Fucking shit that. John said.
I'm going to ask you, right? I'm going to ask you, Mike, because I'm going to get a sensible answer out of you. Right. Listen, if I said to you now, David Moyes,
yes,
he goes, we could have anyone like we're just spoken about, Scott Parker, Tuchel, have you pick a managers, right? Would you let him go now, or would you stick with him and give him 3 or 4 more games?
No, I'm not giving him any more games.
Yeah, there you go. See, sense. No, I'm not.
I'm sorry. It's been rubbish. Europe's popered over it.
No, it has. Even last year, and it has. And the thing is, you can say that the league form struggled at the end of last season since Christmas because we were focusing on Europe.
I can see Gary looking at me. I know. I'm sorry, Gary. I'm sorry.
but this season.
Yes, I know.
No, but this season is.
Look, I can see Gary's even going as well.
He's on route. He's on route to Moyes out. He's on route.
I am, but only if the next 3 games go tits up, right?
No, why the next 3 games, mate?
Well, because we've got Wolves at home, we've got Fulham at home, we've got Southampton away. If we lose those 3,
without train stroke, I'll be there.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, if we lose those 3 games, then he's got to go. In fact, I think if we lose the first 2, he's got to go. Right?
Yeah.
This is shit or bust territory now, which means he'll know it's shit or bust, which means we're going to approach those games in a defensive formation, and we're going to play it tight, right? We're going to keep it tight.
So what I'm saying is, Gary, say we go against Wolves and we do exactly the same as what we did today. It is a fucking turgid game.
That's what I expect.
No, what I'm saying is, but Wolves don't get the goal. We get the smash and grab goal. Are you going to be happy with that?
I won't be happy. I'll be happier and satisfied because look, I just don't want to get relegated. I do not want to get relegated. I know this season is all about the cup competitions and the Europe and everything else. So as long as us as a club are halfway, just below halfway, I'm fine with that. But I don't want to be in a relegation dogfight. I don't want it.
That's not going to happen. We're not going to get relegated.
I know, but at the moment we're not looking good, are we?
We're flirting. I know we're flirting.
Mike,
no, it's
Mike.
There's going to be a
Mike.
Gareth, you just hang on a minute. You just said we're not going to get relegated. What? So with Moyes, hang on. With Moyes, we're not going to get relegated.
No. With Moyes, we're getting relegated. Without him, we aren't.
Oh, so with Moyes, we are getting relegated.
Definitely.
Oh,
so
right.
we can bring in any other manager, and we're not
Yes.
getting relegated.
Yeah.
So Mark Warburton would save us, even.
No.
Oh.
I've got a new version of the song. No, I tell you.
God.
Right. We've got Super David Moyes. He knows exactly what we need. 9 men in defence. It makes no fucking sense. We might win the fucking Conference League.
Come on, you ones.
Yeah. That's so monotone, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no,
Arsenal
I don't
nicked
know.
it. Arsenal have nicked that song.
They can fucking have it.
Arsenal will nick that song.
They can have it. They can plagiarise that all they want. I don't want it. But yeah, so I suppose, look, we've been through everything, haven't we? It's a bit of a conundrum. Do you think that David Moyes? Be honest. They must want a return on their investment. 180 million. They've got to be. We've got a new man on the board now. You know what I'm.
That team has not been bought by Moyes.
Yeah, but it's what I'm saying, though, Mike. So there's 180 million been spent. Obviously, they've got a flavour for where we were because last year was our most lucrative season. So they've got a flavour for where we were. Apparently, Krasinski's investment is now worth much more than when he bought in.
Players as well.
Yeah, but apparently Krasinski for the money he bought in, that's now worth more. That's all based on the fact that we've grown as a club because we got into Europe. So they're going to want more of that. David Moyes is looking like he can't make that transition. Look, I had my doubts anyway, but yeah, I'm not too sure he can do it.
David signed though.
I've never liked him. I've always thought he was limited.
To be fair, I always thought he was.
I thought he was limited, and the fact is, yeah, he could come in. I've said that to you. Listen. No, but listen.
United.
No, but listen. Different managers have got different skill sets, right?
So hang on a minute, Mike. People keep bringing up the United thing, right? And that yes, I understand. Hang on a minute.
That's what they do. They bring out shit.
Hang on a minute. But you tell me, what other manager since Ferguson has done a good job at Old Trafford? What other manager's done a good job at Old Trafford since Ferguson?
Because he was chosen by.
If you hang on, you don't even listen to what I'm. You're like, if you was in my cab now, I'd kick you out, right? At the minute, I don't even know where you're going, right? Listen.
He couldn't.
Listen, shut up.
Shall I do what we did to him last time? Shall I mute him and let him carry on talking?
Right.
No manager. Maybe now the guy in charge, Den Haag, whatever his name is, Ten Hag. But ever since Ferguson's left, no one's done a good job at Man United. So that's a bit unfair.
Can I just say this is like
that's all I ever say about that. I'm sorry.
You got a Father Jack, you've got Nick who knows not to talk to him, and you've got John being Dougal, just going, no, you don't agree with what you're saying. He's leave him. He's just muttering to himself, leave him, just let him carry on. No.
Right, so look, let's go over final verdicts anyway. Look, we've done an hour and 23 minutes. This is our anniversary show. Thank you everyone so much for joining us tonight. Really good.
I'm going to shoot and let you have your own show and get on with it.
Yeah, thanks, Luke.
Cheers, Luke.
Thanks for joining us, mate.
Cheers.
See you later,
Cheers,
mate.
Father Jack.
See you later.
Hope you have some more drinks and.
He will. He's going to be good. He's fine.
See you later, mate. Take care.
What was the first one?
Well done,
Dave.
Well done.
Dave.
In a bit.
Well done,
See you later, Luke.
Thank you very much. Oh, look, we've got our first super chat. Have a look in the live chat.
Where?
£1.79. John Carl, thank you very much. You good man.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute, mate.
John, biscuits for John.
John. I appreciate the 179, John, but that ain't getting half a lager where I live, mate. So
listen, that's very nice. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, John Bashanu.
Yeah. But no, it's been really good. I felt much better after I always do after I blast steam. So I kind of did get me. I got my thoughts out earlier on. But generally, I suppose if we just sign off with our thoughts on the game and what we, I suppose on David Moyes and what you want from David Moyes over the next few games, what your expectations are. Let's go, John, first. Go on.
I just want us to win a game in a minute. And to be honest with you, look, I'd love nothing more than David Moyes to turn it around and shove it down Nicholas's throat. You know I wouldn't, right? But
I would like that. I actually would.
I know you would. I know you would.
He's done it before. He done it last year.
He did.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
But you did for a little while. But I am getting to the point now where I think Moyes is stubborn. He's almost just going against everything the fans want. He must see and hear what the fans say and want. And I know the fans ain't the managers. It's down to him. I get that. But if you're not going to change it up now, when will you? And I think if he doesn't do anything different during this international break and come back and make positive changes, then I won't be surprised, but I'll be quite very disappointed, if I'm honest with you. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
If it's the same old, then yeah. So look, I just want West Ham to win a game, you know.
And that's the thing. And this is coming from like one of the world's most. But it's coming from one of the world's most patient fans in John. And like I say, no, what I mean is and that's the thing. It is patience. It's not ignorance. It's not being able to see what's in front of your eyes. It's just the fact that some people have got a little bit more faith and they're more positive. And I think the worm is turning there for Moyes. He's got something to prove. So Gary, go on. What are your thoughts on it?
Call me a fucking worm.
Well,
you are a worm, yeah. Well, a wiggly worm.
Well, look, it's exactly as John just described. I mean, he has got his fate in his own hands, and I've said this God knows how many times now. Yeah. It is up to Moyes. He has the tools available to him. It's up to him whether he uses those tools or whether he continues on this road, which is a road to nowhere, right? He's going to end up getting himself sacked if he carries on down this route. He needs to change it around. He needs to make use of the tools available to him. If he does that, he can. You know, something can happen. Do I have faith that he will do it? I mean, no. I mean, what Anton said earlier, that's like my wet dream, right? For him to come back after the international break, fully refreshed with a new formation, that is fantastic, right? But you know it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
So for me, he's got to get at least 4 points out of the next 2 games. So that is Wolves at home and Fulham at home. We're going to have 1 win and 1 draw at the very minimum out of those 2 games.
No, that's fine. I like that. Right, people, don't go just yet, because before we do go, after we've done this, we're going to get John to run through some of these comments and pick out some points, and we'll talk about that before we go as well. But everyone knows my point of view. I said it earlier on. I'm done with him. I want him gone. So Mike, Father Jack, fucking go, Father Jack.
If the game is off on the fucking 1st of October, I am going.
If the what? What are you talking about? I said, are you Moyes in or Moyes out?
It's like the ticket office. You got the wrong number.
He's Moyes out. That's it. Yeah. Moyes out. That's it.
Out.
I'll simplify the question, Michael. Is it Moyes in or Moyes out?
I was going to say something.
That's fine. Okay. Well, what we're going to do now, because everyone's been very patient. You've all supported us tonight. John, go through some of the comments, mate. Obviously, there's been tons.
Yeah.
We can't
Sweet.
Hang on.
Let me get to a start point. Otherwise, I'll go too far back. And Hammerhead says, where are we? No team outside the top 6 has had a top 6 start for 3 seasons in a row, other than Everton under Moyes. Won't happen this year with West Ham.
Yeah, I heard that earlier on.
Yeah. No offense, guys, but I think Moyes is a bit autistic. I know autistic people, and they don't like change. Can't really comment.
You should not.
No, I know.
East side views has turned into Stormzy. He's got to
go blood.
He's got to go blood. Swear down, he's got to go.
We need to give Moyes 2 games, kick him out now, and we're back to square one. I think that this is the worry. It's worrying who you're going to get in and worry where you go from here. And it will be another project starting again. There's all that fear. But I think, how many games we got in October? 9?
9.
That's 9 already, though.
Yeah.
No, I know, but in 1 month. This is quite a congested month, October.
Really bad start.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, hang on. What's this one?
Right.
Amit Kamal. Wolves game is the key. Same shit. Then he has to go. That's
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Very much Moyes out.
He is.
I think Wolves is the one out of the 2 that we're most likely to win. So if we don't win that,
I was supposed to be at that game, but I don't think it's going to happen.
If the ball has to twist his arm, then that tells its own story. It's a good question. How do you think the Rice captaincy is going? Is Noble's presence sorely missed? Does the captain need to be held to account? Michael, go on.
What if we were for Brendan Rodgers? Oof.
No. The question I put on screen, mate. How do you think the Rice captaincy is going? What's he doing? What do you use that camera for, mate? Is Logan's presence?
What's he doing? I'm reading.
Right. So,
no, look, I've got one more question. I've just had a thought. Right, I've just had a thought. Now, you know what we were talking about earlier on, John, where David Moyes likes to. No, hold the comments for a minute. Where David Moyes has this tendency to continue playing players when they're out of form.
We'll throw them under the bus.
Players who have got a good legacy with the club. David Moyes has a good legacy with the club. At what point would it not be the right thing to do now? Moyes has built foundations. He's moved us on. He's done a great thing for us. Do we wait until we fucking hate David Moyes and want him gone? Or do you accept the fact that he's gone as far as it can go and go, right, that was phase 1. And now David Moyes, thank you very much. We're moving on to phase 2. How about that?
Oh, the legacy.
Yeah, I mean, it is starting to get to that point. But the problem is a lot of people were at that point 6 months ago. A lot of people, you know.
No. I'm talking about you now. Like, talk about the actual situation.
Yeah.
Thinking about it on that premise, do we wait until David Moyes really is basically a disaster at West Ham before we let him go, or do we let him basically? He's built us a great foundation. We've had 2 great seasons where he's helped build a great squad, which somebody else could probably come in and work with. And now we could move on from him after a slow start. His name is still intact. And yeah, what about that? Looking at it from that way.
They won't sack him when all the fans are going, yeah, but we love him still.
No, but no,
Mike. The board, listen, Mike, the board ain't going to do what the fans want. They will do what protects their interests at the end of the day, right?
Exactly,
They're going to want to protect their £180 million investment. The difference with a manager, Nick, as opposed to a player is that a manager can quite easily leave a club by mutual consent. A player can't, right? Yeah. Moyes, I believe and I hope, would have the respect for himself and his profession and what he's done for us.
No, not a chance.
To maybe walk away with his own point. What?
How many £1 million does he own a year?
He's in his last season.
Last season anyway, isn't he?
He's in his last season, so there's no big.
He knows he's not getting renewed.
Well, that's an interesting point. He probably won't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another good point as well. So hang on a minute. So we've got Declan Rice, a West Ham captain. But we've got Declan Rice, a West Ham captain, who we believe is not going to be here next year. Hang on 1 minute. Hang on. We've got Declan Rice, a West Ham captain. Let's just mute him for a second. Who we believe is not going to be here. And we've got. And we've got the manager who may be the same situation. Who we think he may also not be here next year. Could that be having a negative effect on the players?
Well, it's what I said earlier about Rice as a captain. It's nothing against Rice because I love Rice. We all do. Yeah. But whether he is getting the same level of respect as, for instance, Noble would have. Noble, who gave his life to the club and he was always there and showed no sign of going. It's kind of common knowledge that Rice is off in the summer, right?
Yeah.
So whether that subliminally makes it affects Rice or whether it affects the players around him, I don't know. I know. But one thing's for sure, it ain't looking good at the moment.
It's not good. And there's one more thing I'd like to say. Mike, I'm just going to unmute you for a second. Could you say subliminally for me, please?
Subliminally.
Right, everyone, can I say something as well? Mike, I absolutely love you, mate. You're brilliant. He's one of the first people that came on with us. He's great. Always comes on. Always has a good time. So, thank you very much, Mike.
Don't ever hug him. Don't ever hug him when he's had a few drinks.
You're very much part of the Claret and Boost family, mate.
He loves a hug. He likes
a long hug. He likes a really long hug.
Right. There's that hug coming.
So Nick, we are sounding like Arsenal fans last season. Look at them now.
Oh, mate, seriously, they had Arteta. They had a belief. They had a manager that they knew could achieve where they wanted to go. We've got a manager.
No,
wait, let me finish.
Listen, he had no managerial experience.
But they had a manager with a philosophy of playing a certain way that we want to aspire to. No, they did. He's come from that environment, John. He come from He was Pep's fucking consultant.
I know what he was. I know,
but what I mean is,
doesn't mean it's a foregone conclusion.
But what we're expecting is for David Moyes, a man who's stubborn and stuck in his ways, to change a habit of a lifetime. I don't think it's going to happen.
Can I ask you a question?
It's not.
I don't know.
In my opinion, I don't think it is.
Koyati is still a better player than Souček.
I'll accept that. 100%.
I tell you what, though, I've got to say, some of his passing today was absolutely.
Did you see that one earlier? Did you see that one where he just outside our own 18-yard box?
Oh yeah, I remember it. Yeah,
like, fuck me. What is that? I know. And that was it. Soufal's was it corner? It was his corner, wasn't it? Or free kick? That was his free kick.
Last 20 minutes, I was thinking, where is Souček? Where's number 28? And I had a quick look. Rice was carrying the ball through central midfield, and he was Souček just outside the penalty area.
I'm coming. I want the ball. Yeah,
just outside the penalty area. I mean, literally just leaves right when we're in that attacking mode where we're going for a game. He just leaves Rice behind.
Thing is, and I do feel sorry for him because I do think that they have been brilliant for the club. I think they were brought in at a point where we needed them, and they were fantastic, both Soufal and Souček. But we have outgrown them. We've got look. It's not when you're playing now. Joe, it feels like a little bit. Because I manage kind of youth football, and it's almost like when you go from no. But what I mean is, it almost feels like these are the two players now. We've gone up a level. And they're the two players now that they need to be put on the bench because we've jumped up a few. Do you know what I mean? The level's a bit different now.
I've got to say, this is a great point because this is what Conte did to Son.
Yeah. But Conte's got big Italian bollocks. I don't think Moyes has.
Yeah, no, he's got big Scottish bollocks.
Come off the bench and just scored 4 or 3, whatever goals, whatever.
Gary, it would seem that you know his side because you're from the ends, apparently.
From the ends.
That's what he said. I know, Gary, because we're from the ends.
We're all from Mile End, east side.
Yeah,
we're all from Mile End.
From Mile End. That's the only end I'm from.
Mile End, mate.
Gone by Tuesday.
A lot of people saying he's going to be gone by Tuesday, isn't it?
Why Tuesday?
I really hope so.
Because the Queen's being buried tomorrow.
They can't do that.
You can't sack him on the day of the royal funeral. No, that's wrong. Yeah.
I reckon Chelsea would, but I don't think we will.
Antos Labradardos says we'll beat Wolves and Fulham, but the manager is still not good enough.
I don't think we will, mate.
It's Anthos what was it?
Lobotomy.
Fulham.
Yeah. Anyway, Noble and Pearce a massive loss. Yes, they are.
They are huge.
Yeah.
Joe Saunders, Mike's got a fan. We need Father Jack on more often.
He's brilliant, mate. He's good.
He's all right, I suppose.
Now we've worked out how to use a mute button. He's fantastic. Hang on.
Going back to your point earlier, Nick, Moyes is in danger of destroying his own legacy.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's the thing, and I think that is the case. I think he has done a brilliant job that he can be proud of. Hello, Doddsy.
Richard Dodds, evening lads, great viewing, but I'm home, so a wine and off to bed. Too much travel, but do you generally think they get the shit we do? They
get the shit we do to follow them.
Yeah, Dodgy travels all over the world watching.
He's part of the 6'2" team, and he literally travels everywhere with them. He does. He's brilliant. He does a vlog. He does. Yeah.
In answer to your question, I don't think they get it. No, I don't think they get it.
I did see a few West Ham tops at Chessington today. To be fair.
Yeah.
What was they do? Really?
Yeah, give them that.
How about Skamaka? Skamaka got frustrated in the end.
Yeah, but he was roughing him up a little bit, wasn't he, Skamaka?
Well, that yellow card was a card of frustration for me. He looked absolutely frustrated. I think that's what that yellow card was. Just petulant, but he was pissed off. He was frustrated. So
he was. You can see that it appears there's no love lost between him and Antonio. Although, do you know what?
I don't agree with that because Antonio did that interview. Antonio did that interview.
Do you know what? As much as I'd love to have the shit there, I think Antonio loves the fact that he's got a challenge.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, I actually haven't got an issue with my two strikers hating each other either.
No,
because you'd like to think that's the healthy competition. They're going to try and outdo each other, not hate, but like professionally hate each other. Do you know what I mean?
This is my fear. We will sack Moyes, bring in a Pellegrini Mark II. 2 years later, reinstate Moyes. As by that time,
restart the cycle.
As by that time, we will be grateful for mid-table mediocrity.
Only if we can get Arnie back.
Yeah, but this is all that careful what you wish for nonsense, right? It's up to the club to make it so that we don't have to say careful what you wish for. They have to make it good. It's their job. If one manager ain't doing a good job, they have to find another manager who can do a good job, not one who's fucking worse and makes us pine for Moyes.
Yeah. Arsenal spent over 400 million.
Gary, I have never in my life pined for Moyes. Even when we reinstated him for the second time, I didn't want him. I did not want Moyes second time round. I was even more infuriated when we re-employed him. I was.
Yeah, but Nick, if you remember rightly, I was infuriated with the board because of what they made us look like going back to Moyes in the first year.
Oh, it's embarrassing. But he was like eighth choice.
Okay, but Moyes did a job for us first time round, and he's done a job for us now. No matter what's happening at this moment, you can't.
Isn't it?
He's a fat kid at PE that never gets picked for the football team. He is. That's what he is.
So he was basically you.
Boy, I was trim in school, John.
No, but you was crap at football.
Oh, I was amazing.
We have a manager who's got us into yes, and this is another point, Michael, because Moyes he loves breaking records. This season, after 4 wins in a row in Europe, that's the first time ever West Ham have done that in a season.
Let's stick with him for 4 years, then. And, you know, yeah.
Third from bottom, John. Third from bottom.
Yeah,
Gary. Once more, Paul, stay there, Paul. I know you posted this ages ago. Gary, read out those stats that you read earlier on once more from our recent form. Just once more.
1 second.
Just to reiterate them.
1 second. Let me bring it up. Right.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Right. Rolling form, 22 games, 5 wins, 4 draws, 13 losses, 13 goals scored, 36 conceded, 19 points from a possible 66.
That is utter bollocks.
I don't take them stats. I don't take the stats. I'm sorry.
That's fucking relegation.
What do you mean you don't take it?
You can't because I don't take the second half of last season's stats. You can't do that.
Well, just base it on this season. We're shit still. Nothing's changed.
But everyone keeps bringing last seasons in when the players' focus was on Europe.
Yeah, but okay, well, they ain't focused on Europe now, and we're still shit.
I know. Well, I know, but what I'm saying is it looks far worse when you do that. Listen,
I don't think it does. I think it's just as bad this year.
Shut up a minute, Mike, because you got back up in your mate Nick. Right? Be quiet a minute. I was going to games last season, and probably Gary was and Nick, and you was coming out after losing at home, but you was thinking it don't matter because we got Seville next week, or we got Lyon. Yeah. You didn't really care that much because you had a different focus. And that's what I'm saying. I know
John,
when you add it together. But
Ultra 505. Those stats are awful. Any other manager would have been sacked with that record, and I believe that.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Ultra 505. It's. I've nicked your chat, but it was a recent one. Go on, carry on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just too many people saying Father Jack's a nice geezer. He was getting on my nerves.
He is. There you go. See, he's getting love. Yeah, I'll unmute him for a minute. Go on. You can talk now.
I'll never get excited about a transfer window again. Absolutely pointless with a dinosaur at the helm. No. Are Father Jack and Virgil twins? You having a fucking laugh? Fucking joking, mate. You know?
Love me, really.
Yeah. If Antonio upsets Skamaka, his dad will shoot him.
Yeah, she will. Mafioso, isn't it?
Well, at least he'll do is smash his car up.
Nick, this is a great point. I did put someone else said this earlier, but Nick missed it. Arsenal spent 400 million, but they essentially replaced their entire squad. So that's a big investment, and you would expect them to be doing well.
We're spent in 2.5 years. Moyes has spent almost 300 million.
Yeah, they are top of the league.
No, but Mike, put it in perspective. 2.5 years. Moyes has spent almost 300 million. He's been backed
this season as well.
He's been backed. Moyes has been backed. Moyes has been backed more than any other manager. People talk about 100 million that Pellegrini got, right? He's had 3 times what Pellegrini got.
Yeah,
because he's done well with it, Nick. To some extent, Mike.
I don't spend money on shit. I don't.
No. What I mean is, John, he hasn't done well with that spend. He hasn't done well. Hang on. He hasn't done well with the spend. What? Yeah, he hasn't done well with the spend. He did well before the spend.
Yeah.
So for 2 years he spent 140 million. You know.
Yeah, he did well. He did well with a Souček, with a Bowen, with a Soufal, Zuma, one or two others that he brought in. But this is the big test, and it ain't really. It ain't really something we've covered, is it? But when you look at the players that have been brought in, I mean, Agued's injured, Areola's not getting a game, but there's 6 other players. You know, Paqueta's getting a game, but we haven't seen anywhere near the best of him. I think Kera's done well, but the other four players, Skamaka has been a bit part player who's been quite ill. Downs, we've been very impressed with. Yeah, he looks like a decent player, but he's only had 1 run out. Who are the other two? Cornet gets a bit part player, barely gets a kick.
You don't hate him.
No,
I don't hate. I don't hate you, man. I mean, and to be quite honest, Mike, you're not on your own either. It's like Anton and Luca were on earlier on. Maybe me and John have been too critical of him. I don't know. I feel similar to John about Cornet. I feel like he's flattered to deceive a little bit since he's come in, but he's at least he's. Right. You know what? He's enthusiastic. He's a carrier. He's a ball carrier. I think that's you know. I'm gonna get one of those dreadlocks that comes down the front as well. Just that'd suit you, Gal. That'd suit you. That'd be really good
for the show.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I had a dog named Jack. I had to sack him.
Europe papered over the cracks, or maybe it did.
Yeah.
Deck needs to step up and act like a leader.
Being papered over.
See, I'm just in 3 minds about Deck. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know whether he's doing a fabulous job or whether he's struggled since Noble's left. I don't know.
I think this is too much to pin on Rice. It's too much to pin on Rice.
Yeah.
I think his performances have been good. He might not have reached the same fucking levels, but the team around him ain't reaching those levels. He's still playing well. And like I said to you, it isn't. You can't expect him to just be Mark Noble. He relied on Noble, and I think this has probably affected Deck. Noble going, Noble going has affected Deck as well. People don't realise that, you know. Yeah. He can't just become Mark Noble.
No, this is what Hammerhead's got it right. You know, Deck's just a baby for fuck's sake. Yeah, I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I agree. He is.
The problem is,
that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. I'm not having a go at Deck. I'm just saying maybe it's a little bit above him at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Deck ain't the reason why we're lower down in the running stats and stuff like that. That's not. Of
course he ain't. Of course he ain't. No,
you know,
it's far easier. It's far easier being a captain in a team doing well than a team not doing well, and it's far easier being captain when you've got a legend, whether you like it or not, a club legend like Noble.
It was a West Ham legend.
Yeah.
We are getting rid of 2 legends, really.
Yeah,
just God bless.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. What's this question here? What happened to Moyes acting like the transfer budget came from his pocket? Before he was very mean with cash, but now he spends 190 million on players he doesn't.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, like we've all said, but Anton said earlier on. Anton said earlier on that the guy that's come in, the big fucking star that's come into Newcastle. What's his name?
Isaac.
He's come in straight in. They're persisted with him. And do you know what? Moyes proved when we brought in Kera. So when Moyes brought in Kera, okay, his first game was shit. He was horrible. He was dog shit. Second game was better. Third game, amazing. That's how you bed players in.
You've got to give them a run. And if they fail, you've got to carry on playing them. With
new players. Yeah, you have.
Well, you don't know. We still don't know whether Vlasic would have been any fucking good, right? He's gone to Torino. He's played 7 games in a row. He's scored 3 goals. We don't know if he'd have been any good because he never got a run in the side. And he never played in his position, did he? So we don't know whether he was going to be any good.
No. When Moyes came in, first game against Bournemouth, Antonio Heller up front. We won 4. Was it 4-0, 4-1?
4-1. I think
4-1.
We won. You know? We won comfortably anyway.
And then the next time we played, then there were some injuries. And the next time we played Antonio and Heller up front, we beat Southampton about 3-0 or something. Yeah.
What about this point from Ulster Ryan? If it wasn't for injuries, Kehrer would be still warming the bench too.
100%. No, that is true. That's true. He's been forced into putting him in the team.
Shut up, you muppet.
No, he has. John, he has.
If Dawson was available, he would have played.
A great point from Dan. I reckon Brady needs to go into the changing room and let each starting 11 player hold her right tit for luck. I think that should work.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Bit sexist, Dan. Bit sexist.
Bit sexist.
Why is he sexist? Rice is the same age as Odegaard, who is Arsenal's captain. I don't buy this. He's too young narrative. No, I don't think he's too young.
No, we're not saying he's too young.
I'm not saying he's too young, but I think people in other people in the chat as
West Ham are a unique club, right? West Ham, we kind of are all about kind of our philosophy and where we're from, especially because we've moved clubs. I think Mark Noble was the last trace of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, DNA.
He was that sort of DNA, and he was a special club captain as well. When you hear about the stuff that he used to do behind the scenes, when Lingard came in, apparently when Moyes brought Lingard in, he was like, "No, this is a special boy. You treat him like this." And apparently Noble was like, "No."
Yeah, Noble also told him when he got off the coach, he went, "No mobile phones on the coach, mate.
Yeah,
you've got to play cards with us."
Absolutely. And look at TikTok bollocks now when he can do what he wants at Nottingham Forest. As he performing at Nottingham Forest?
Crap.
The same player.
Crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Crap. Do we still think we could get over 100 million for Rice? Unmute. You've muted Jack again.
Oh, sorry, mate. I didn't mean to.
Go on, Mike. He's muted you by mistake.
Go on, Mike.
So, do you think that like Noble was like the be all and end all then?
No, I think he was important. He was important to the club.
You don't think he was important at that club?
No, I do. I think if he said to like, you don't do that on my watch. With
pretty much. Yeah, I think they would listen. I remember Fornell said it in an interview when he signed. First phone call we got when he was still in Spain with Noble. Lingard was told, Lingard's been told not to go on your phone. He probably instilled what the club is about to all the foreign players that came in from abroad who probably didn't know too much about the club. People like Ogbonna when they first came and people like that.
Ogbonna's the next one who's going to be like, wow. He's brilliant.
What do you mean?
Well, he loves the club. He actually
he's important, and I think there's other players as well, and I think that's why. Do you know? There's certain characters around the club. I think clearly Dawson's one of them.
Massive.
The way that Declan Rice, it ain't just the fans. The way that Declan Rice spoke about him after the game. Yeah, I think Cresswell as well. I think Cresswell's an important character.
Yeah, massive. Yeah. And the thing is,
back to fucking Dave's club, then, aren't we?
We're not going back to Dave's club because Dave was there before Dave. These players we're talking about were at West Ham before Moyes, so it's not the Moyes club. They're the club's club. They're players that know what it is to play for West Ham United. And the problem is when you lose those players, Ogbonna's going to be gone in the summer. Cresswell hasn't got long left. I'm not blaming that or trying to take the shift of blame off of Moyes, but that does make a difference. It does make a difference, 100%.
Oh dear.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, look. What we are going to do, people? We're considering doing a different type of show soon. So there's a show that we're looking. It probably take because we've got to buy a bit of kit. So probably in around about sort of 3 weeks to a month's time, we're gonna take a risk and we're gonna start doing a phone-in show, TalkSport style. So you'll literally, rather than if you don't feel comfortable coming on the screen, you can just dial into us and we can take phone calls. Do you reckon that'd be a good thing? Let us know what you think in the chat. So you can literally phone in and talk to us that way. We can have 2 calls as well, so we could have callers going off against each other. Be quite good, I reckon.
Really? What, you just hear their voices, like literally just hear their voices?
Yeah. No, they can just phone in. So we give them a phone number. They can come in. So that's a post-match show that we're looking at doing soon. So Eastside views. I'm on it. Look,
yeah.
I'm not having him on the phone. I'm not having him on the phone. No way. I'm not having. Nick. The thing is, Nick will only pick callers that will agree with Nick.
No, I won't. Promise. I will never do that, John. I will never do that.
Look, he'll have Armit on it. He'll have Armit. He'll have Eastside.
Eastside, my brother. He'll be on there. Yeah, that's it.
Can't have Michael on there because we won't understand him.
I need visual.
I know. Right, okay, but look, we've been going for almost 2 hours. That's our longest show for a while. So thank you very much. It was only right that Mike, thank you so much for coming back on, mate. We'll love you. You're a good man, and thank you all so much in the chat as well. This has been you've stayed with us as well. It's really, especially after such a shit game. You know, it's such a really it's a bad time at the minute.
I only came on the original day because Antonio was so brilliant.
He was. He was.
What?
But anyway, it's all right. Just not a smile and wave.
I've got no idea what he said.
Smart sister. Go on, Gary. Go on, wrap up.
All right. Now, thank you all for joining on this special anniversary show. It's been fun, actually. We're nearly at 2 hours. You think when we were doing some of these early shows, we were nearly at 3 hours sometimes. I know. I think once we went to 3.5 hours. It just went on forever, didn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, look, it's been an interesting year. The channel's going quite well. And thanks for all your support, everybody. Really appreciate it.
It's been really good. The year's gone quick, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it has. So let's see where we are in a year's time from now. So
until with David Moyes at the helm, hopefully. Oh,
exactly. So catch our individual shows in the week, not tomorrow, from Tuesday onwards. And other than that, we'll see you soon. And come on, you ones.
Here you hands.
Hands.